Well, it's been a long old time since I've done one of these. Uh, I mean, where do we start, really? I mean, I suppose I should start and explain why it's been so long since I've done a video. Um, One of the things is, I'm sure a lot of you know, it's very difficult to get on the property market these days. One job's not enough unless you're making, over 30 grand a year. So I had to take a second job, so I wasn't able to always watch all the games. Another thing, I kind of allowed someone to kind of get to me. They obviously were very kind of vocal in criticizing me, and I kind of lost my confidence along the way. This isn't obviously at the start of me doing them again, but this is just me explaining why it's been so long. So I'm losing my job on the 3rd of July. I'm not looking for any sympathy or that, but I'm just explaining, all the kind of ins and outs, and just in general, I've kind of felt sort of like very unsettled. But at the moment, I'm working on a project which is pretty cool. Can't really speak about that, but it's cool that I'm doing something like that. So, on to Rangers. I mean, where do we start? I'm not surprised. We've obviously seen this before, but I'm surprised. I'm not. There's actually people that want Clement out. I just feel that that's just absolute nonsense. I've heard the phrase drain the swamp, and I have to say I'm fully on board with that. And I'll go through the players and I'll say, look, this is where we're at. When we won 55 under Gerrard, that was the time to strengthen our position, or it was one of the two times when players had maximum value for selling. So it was when we won 55 and we got to Europa League final. The fact that we allowed Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent to both go out the door on a free was completely unacceptable. And it showed that the player trading model, although we did very well with money for Bassi and Nathan Patterson, the player trading model has, to a degree, failed, because two players it could have been worth, when at their best, I mean, when Morelos was at his best, we talked about maybe 20 million, and Kent maybe talking about 10 million. I mean, that's 20 to 30 million out the door for free. I mean, that's not sustainable when you're a Scottish club. So, yeah, a lot of it's obviously poor recruitment. Bringing in players that are injury prone, the likes of your Kemar Roofe, Ben Davies. Tom Lawrence has become injury prone. I'm not sure if he was injury prone before he joined. And yeah, the squad needs a massive clear out. The fact of the matter is, someone said that when Celtic obviously didn't win that one league title in however many years it's been, they drained the swamp. And I think it is actually a good phrase to use. We've pretty much had the same back four since even Gerrard first came into Rangers, of Tavernier, Barisic, Goldson, and insert centre back, because there's never really been someone that's settled. Helander was injury prone, Balogun's injury prone. But Balogun gave everything for the shirt. I mean, so did Helander, but Helander's injuries were just horrendous. Yet at his current club, he's not had any injury issues. As far as the playing squad, I mean, we'll try and go through it. Jack Butland's been absolutely unbelievable. I mean, what a signing on a free. You would imagine that there's going to be offers for him in the summer, but we must try everything to keep him. We would not have been in a title race if it wasn't for Jack Butland. And under Clement, we won the League Cup, so we won a trophy. We've still got a chance of winning the Scottish Cup. The injuries have been absolutely horrendous. When Oscar Cortez got injured in I think it was the Kilmarnock game, our level has dropped since then, because when him and Diomande came in, they both brought a bit of freshness to the team, and the team was looking better. And then we had the loss against Motherwell at Ibrox, which was completely unexpected. But you can draw a line under that, because under Clement we're pretty much winning. Apart from the game at Celtic Park in the league, we're pretty much winning every single game. So we ended up, for a brief period of time, being top, which was incredible. We think about how far back we were when Michael Beale went out the door and the team looked bereft of confidence. We looked like we were going to go out to the Europa League. We topped our group. And I mean, you could see with the Benfica game that the team kind of burned out. But now I'm not making excuses for these players, because I'm done making excuses for them. It's time to move. If the rumours are true about Tavernier and Goldson going to Saudi Arabia, let them go. It's time for them to go. Goldson has not been the same player since he signed the new deal at Rangers. He looks like he's lost a step. Tavernier looks like he's lost a step to me. I know I've been highly, highly critical of Tavernier, but I believe I've given credit where credit was due. It is time to move him on. Barisic should have been gone after that game at Celtic Park. Speaking of that game at Celtic Park, apart from when we beat Celtic in the Scottish League Cup semi-final, was it Scottish Cup semi-final? It was Scottish Cup semi-final it was. That is the only time since then that we've beaten them in a game that actually mattered. We have shown fear when we've played them. We have made it easy for them. We've lost the midfield battle time and time again. When we beat them last season in that game at Ibrox, the league was already over. It was dead rubber. It didn't mean anything. Of course it means something if you beat Celtic. It means something if Celtic beat Rangers. Of course it does. But in the grand scheme of things, the league was done. Celtic had won it. It was a dead rubber game. And they went on to lose another couple of games before the end of that season. So yeah, I mean, Goldson got to be away as well. Ben Davies has been a really poor signing, a really poor use of 4 million. I mean, if you think about the kind of markets that Rangers and Celtic should be operating in, you could probably get 2 decent centre-backs for that price. John Souttar, I mean, you have to kind of keep him around because you need someone, but probably in and out the team. Is he good enough to start every week? Probably not. Ridvan Yilmaz I really like. I mean, I thought he was absolutely outstanding when he got that run in Clement's team. Has he become injury prone? If he has, then we get a decent offer in the summer, then we're going to have to let him go, which means we're then looking for a left back. John Lundstrom, who was for the most part terrific since Clement came in the door, wasn't great under Gerrard, wasn't great under Beale, and under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst he was excellent that Europa League run. But I got to kind of ask this question: has there actually been an Old Firm game where John Lundstrom has actually shown up and actually played well? If there has, I want someone to tell me when that was, because my memory of him playing in Old Firms is either playing poorly, playing poor passes, not picking up his man. He's obviously going to sign a contract with another club. He's going to go out the door. So we're going to have to rebuild the midfield, but the midfield is massively needing rebuild, so is defence. Dijon Sterling has been absolutely terrific under Clement. Can pretty much play anywhere. I'd love to see him playing in the middle of the park next season. I know there's a lot of detractors for Diomande, but he's a player that's got real quality. He has shown that at times. And he needs obviously someone that's going to do the dirty work alongside him, and Sterling's going to do that. And we're obviously going to need another player in there, of course. Raskin, for the first time in a while, he looked good when he came on yesterday. So, I mean, maybe he's now got a future where I thought maybe he didn't. This is really going to probably trigger quite a lot of people. If I don't feel that Clement fancies Todd Cantwell. I've seen it for a while now. He was in decent form recently. There has been games he's gone missing, including games against Celtic, including games in Europe. There's been games where obviously he's done well in Europe as well. If we get a decent offer for him, I would sell him. And I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to disagree with that, and that's fair enough. Tom Lawrence looks like his best days are behind him. Since he's come back from injury, has just not looked like the player that he once was, so we should move him on. I was always very full of praise for Yanis Hadji. I think we should sell him in the summer. So I mean, say Ryan Jack's going to be out of contract. We shouldn't give him a new contract because he's never fit. Kieran Dowell, probably should go as well. Although he has shown glimpses, but again, he's been injury prone and wasn't great in the old firm at Ibrox. Then it brings us to the wings, and that has been a real problem because of the injuries. When we had opportunities against Celtic on Saturday, we didn't have the quality to cause them any problems. Oscar Cortez only played a couple of times, but I was impressed by what I've seen. I like his directness. I like that he likes to try and have a shot on goal instead of like always kind of cutting in or looking for Tavernier. We've been, for the most part, and this goes back to when Gerrard was in charge, a one-man team. Now, be that Alfredo Morelos or James Tavernier, looking to these like one or two players to do something. It should be a collective. These players, again, have wilted under the pressure. That's not acceptable when you play for a club like Glasgow Rangers. The minimum expectation is to go and win every game. Now, are you going to win every game? Of course you're not. But you're expected to go and compete and win league titles, and you're expected to go and win cups. And we've won the League Cup. And as soon as obviously people really start to talk about it as being title challengers, we bottled it. The results against Dundee and Ross County were unacceptable, particularly losing against Ross County the way we did, them drawing against Dundee. Obviously, the Old Firm results have been unacceptable, and that's ultimately where the league has been lost. So yeah, I like Oscar Cortez. I would love to see him be signed permanently. He's not an injury-prone player. He's a player that's got injured since he's came in. That can happen. He was getting some rough challenges on him. We've seen a lot of that this season in the SPL. Ross McCausland, when Clement first came in, he was a player that offered energy, but he doesn't really offer much in end product, doesn't score goals, doesn't really set much up. He, at best, is a squad player. Abdallah Sima was looking absolutely terrific before his injury. He was scoring goals and making things happen. I mean, he didn't start the season that well, but he certainly really came onto a game. And if there's a possibility to bring him in, then yeah, let's do it. Rabbi Matondo, I thought maybe, we should be moving him on, but he scored an absolutely terrific goal against Hibs and scored that wonder goal against Celtic as well at Ibrox. Unfortunately, it's not really counted for much in the end. But if Clement can keep working with him, there's obviously a player there. And with his pace, if we had the pace of him and Sima yesterday, it could have maybe made a difference. Because, I mean, Celtic, although they could have won that by 5 or 6 yesterday, they didn't. There was opportunities for Rangers if we'd put more quality in the final third, and we certainly didn't have that. Sam Lammer's obviously done terrific on his loan move back at Utrecht. I think was possibly his first club, I'm not sure. And if they're willing to pay the money and recoup the money on him, then we should let him go. What are we kind of really left with at that point? Well, Kemar Roof, apart from getting the goal against Real Betis, has been an empty jersey. His contract is up. He's got to go. Simple as that. Again, injury prone. People will say, when fit, best striker at the club. Maybe that's true. When is he ever fit, though? Cyril Dessers didn't do much wrong yesterday, scored his goal, but has been a very divisive player. I mean, his goal record is very good. He's a very frustrating player. Is he the answer to be Rangers' #1 striker? No. If we got a decent offer between 4 to 6 million for him in the summer, would you sell him? Yeah, you would. Especially if you could bring in someone like Bojan Miovski, who are big fan of. I'm not going to get into the whole Lawrence Shankland thing. I think there's very divisive. There's people that obviously are desperate for him, and there's people that don't want him. I think it's split down the middle. I personally never wanted him. I certainly wouldn't spent $5 million on him in January. Not a chance. Not especially when the player's contract is up next summer. So, agree with me, disagree with me. I don't really care. Danilo, I really feel there's a player there. I think we'll see that next season. Is he going to be Rangers' #1 striker? Well, for $6 million, you would hope. You'd hope a good pre-season under his belt. He did look positive under Clement. The frustrating thing for me with watching Rangers, and this isn't even like a new issue, it's always taking like that extra touch or playing that extra pass when sometimes, the shot is on. Just sometimes, you have to take a shot. And then you see them taking shots and it's not on. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's players that have missed out there, but also for anyone that thinks that we could sell Jack Butland and Robbie McCrorie would be the answer as Rangers number one, I mean, have a word with yourself. He's not Rangers number one quality. I'm sure it's going to rub people up the wrong way, but he's not. I've seen it in some of the games with Beale towards the end of last season. He looked ropey, really ropey in a game against Hibs. He's not the best from crosses. He didn't. The game we won under Gerrard, where he played because we had the COVID outbreak. That was Gerrard's last Old Firm in charge of Rangers. He didn't really have a shot to save, and for most of the part when he played those last few games under Michael Beale, he again didn't have a save to make. He's not the answer if we sell Jack Butland. I agree with people when they say that when Steven Gerrard was Rangers manager, he showed Celtic nothing but contempt and had the players hating him, and that's the way it's got to be. That's certainly the way it is for Celtic against us. We can't go into games against them with fear. We've really got to kind of get in their faces. And we've got to show more quality in the final third. I mean, I was watching Celtic at times, and when they were in the final third, and I've seen it time and time again when we've played them, they always look like they're capable of scoring. And when I see us going forward, I'm just kind of scratching my head and thinking, well, where's the goal going to come from? And it's always like the ball kind of goes out wide and then there's a cross into the box and it's cleared away. And as we know, we can't score from corners. That's something that's going to have to get addressed, whether that's change of corner kick takers. But really, we need a massive clear out. It's as simple as that. Hopefully, these players can at least bring us a Scottish Cup win. Hopefully we'll have Sima Matondo back for that. Scott Wright needs to go. The fact he's still a Rangers player is unbelievable. If there's anyone I've missed out, then, you know, drop it in the comments and we can discuss them. But I feel like that's everybody. But, yeah, I mean, the only way that things are really going to be different next season is if we have a massive clear out. It's going to be difficult because you're talking about a massive turnover of players. There was a massive turnover of players with Beale in the summer. That hasn't worked. And we've got to do it again. So, yeah. Sorry it's been such a long video, but I've had a lot to say. There's not really been an order to it. But now was the time to speak. And, yeah. We go again in the Scottish Cup final. I mean, of course, we'll win the next two league games. But, I mean, they're dead rubber at this point, but you still want to win the games. But yeah, just another season of being scunnered. I mean, who would have thought after winning 55 and then getting to Europa League final that this is the situation we would be in? But this is where we're at, and yeah, I mean, I back the manager, but he needs obviously the back in the summer. We need to get players in and out. We can no longer have faith with the likes of Tavernier, Goldson, Lundstrom, and Barisic is gone anyway. It's time for changes and massive changes, and that's the only way to move forward. But anyway, thank you for watching. I say sorry it was so long.